condition of the mind. Okay, so you have to get out of the normal zone. Normal comfort zone has to be lost. So sometimes it may happen in the case of just a sudden accident or something has happened, and in that state, it got triggered automatically once in a while. Okay, I'm not saying it's very common, but happens. So there it will be very difficult to integrate because you don't know what to do with it afterwards. It's very difficult. It's like suddenly portals may open up and suddenly you must start seeing things, etc. Most people will put you straight into a mental asylum. Doctors will put you into medicines. You will not know what to do. And on top of that, if your belief system does not support this, then you are even more screwed.
The energy is so powerful that there are cases when it has suddenly happened and the body and the mind is not able to cope with it and people become somewhat semi-crazy.
When you say crazy, what happens?
Suddenly there's a spurt of energy which they don't know how to place, how to control. They sort of behave in strange ways.
And some people might consider them to be possessed when
Yes, possible. Or mad. They're not actually mad. They're seeing things and hearing things and going with because something has happened in them.
So these simultaneous triggers can occur either due to stress or some other factor, which I will elaborate on later. When the inner force awakens, suddenly you can see a different reality around you, one that the majority still can perceive. But what if there is a certain way to awaken this dormant force? Remember, it can be very dangerous if you don't have a proper guidance.
And yogis of India, I think, are at the root of many of these. These stories. They're probably the most sophisticated, I would say, of the shamans who have explored consciousness. That in an almost scientific manner.
Now, this actually happens. There are techniques to do this, but the Eastern people, the yogis, have developed systems to do this, to push the nervous system rapidly. But it happens very often spontaneously without someone.
You do something about it. Unless you're aware of it and activate it in a certain way, they do not come into existence. They remain dormant. The dormant energy is way bigger than the energy that is in use right now. If you activate this dimension of energy, other dimensions of life will open up. One thing is, are you ready for those dimensions? Kundalini Yoga in its essence is the most dangerous form of yoga. I'm saying dangerous because it's the most potent also. What is most potent is always the most dangerous, if improperly handled. Without expert guidance, constant guidance and observation, nobody should ever attempt it. Otherwise, Kundalini Yoga can transform the way you are within days. Suddenly you find you are a stranger in your own home, just have to jump into an abyss. If you have to jump into an abyss, you should be insane. Or you should have enormous trust in somebody.
So there, once it opens up is good, but what do you do after that? And that is where you will need solid guidance. Because otherwise there are more people who fall down with these kind of experiences than people who integrate them properly in their life. And after this little bit of the Kundalini movement when it starts, your normal life is going for a toss. First of all, your perspective of everything is going to change.
This is a great point you've mentioned, sir. Basically, it's like a brain has filters, which filters out a lot of stuff. Because if we were able to see that stuff, we would have lost our minds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's around us now as we speak.
Yes.
But your gross body consciously blocks it out because maybe your soul is not ready to experience those experiences.
Right.
Now, if you also begin to spiritually advance and you chase this process of making your Kundalini rise, those filters get removed from your brain.
Yes.
Creative energy is always depicted as feminine. So this Parashakti, after having done all its work, in the human being, where does it operate? First, it operates as sex. This energy creates another human being. It's a creative energy. Now, this energy, after having made a child, doesn't dissipate. It stays. Where does it stay? In the bottom of the spine, in the center called the Mooladhara.
Your lowest chakra.
Lower center. Lowest not in the sense of low and high, but in the bottommost.
Physically
physically
placed
low.
things.
Yes. So it stays there. Now the yoga becomes a physically creative energy through sex.
So this inner force is known as Kundalini in esoteric Hindu teachings, while in esoteric Kabbalah teachings it's referred to as Merkaba. Merkaba mysticism focuses on exploring the inner workings of the divine and spiritual realms through meditation and practices. These techniques have been integral to secret societies since ancient times, including the Eleusinian mysteries in ancient Greece.
There is no me.
There's no you.
No.
We're not here. This is a dream.
There's just things happening. And there are clusters of tetrahedrons moving around together. It's not our world.
None
That's
of
the
this is
key.
real?
Nope.
So you're just passing
We don't
through.
matter.
The Monroe Institute and the Gateway Experience share the same purpose, to awaken this inner energy through specific frequency and meditation. They even incorporate certain affirmations and the sound Om during the Gateway Experience. The Kozyrev mirror operates on a similar principle by constructing mirror or light-reflecting material walls to block the electromagnetic forces, allowing individuals to awaken their inner energy. The mystical prophet Nostradamus employed similar techniques while he was making his prophecies. Baba Vanga, the famous seer from the Balkans, experienced an awakening of her inner force due to stress after losing her eyesight during a tornado storm. I can make a part 2 about this topic, focusing more on the symbolism and the secret and ancient teachings, so let me know if you are interested. Now let's explore the event that might cause a global sudden awakening of this inner force or the real apocalypse. I've written many texts about the ancient catastrophic events and the ones foretold by our ancestors. In my opinion, it involves the magnetic pole shift, the increased solar activity, and the weakening of the Earth's magnetic field. We can delve into the details in another video, but here's my opinion on how that event will affect us mentally and physically. As Chen Thomas stated in his book The Adam and Eve Story, experiments with rats living in a lower magnetic field made them more aggressive and violent. Ancient texts predict that at the end of time people will become more aggressive and even wars will erupt. As I stated at the beginning of this video, the sun and the electromagnetic field have a huge impact on our nervous system. People will not be aware of what is happening as reality starts to change, so they will become confused and aggressive.
I have a feeling that now people seeing this happening, floods, sea levels are rising, icebergs are melting, cruelty in human beings in general is increasing. All kinds of things are happening. Of course, there is one side where spiritual, So I think the young person also has begun to think, because the future belongs to the young, begun to think that this is not everything, there must be something more to it.
Like spiritual.
Definitely, because we in India are lucky because we have been exposed to it for so many years, which may not be the case with other people. So people have begun to think, is there something more than this? Is this all there is to? Are we going to die suddenly of an earthquake or something happening? How many people died in Turkey recently? Right? So all these disasters are a pointer towards saying, well, this is not everything. There is something more than this, which can never be created or destroyed.
Had your master told you that a difficult time will come?
Yes, he did.
And our
And
time.
many of the things he said are happening now. And that time I used to think that maybe some things will happen, some may not happen, but many things which he said are happening. Sea level rising, when he said that, I couldn't believe it at that time. He said the ice in Antarctica will melt. He said there will be earthquakes in the Himalayas. I said it is a sacred place. He said, yeah, but it is still a physical system. It can happen. He said the young people will also get interested in spiritual matters, and this is important to prevent disasters in future. He said they are the people who are going to take over next in this world, and it's good that they go with this understanding and background, which is why I also try to concentrate on the young. I go to satsangs. When I see more young people, I'm really happy.
Is this signed off as a difficult decade for humans?
Yes.
The
It's a very
20s?
difficult decade for human, but once we cross this, we will come out better. It's a reformatory.
Purification.
Broadens and the senses change due to stress, the effect of the magnetic field and the radiation of the sun, they will start perceiving different creatures. These are ancient paintings found in Australia and America. Also in the Book of Revelation, at the end of time, giant locusts are emerging from the ground to torment the people. Only a small number of enlightened people will know what is happening, and after the catastrophic events and the Great Flash, humanity might start over, this time as a more evolved species with new senses. It's possible that evolution is triggered and happens suddenly due to extreme events like this study suggests. However, there are certain twists, and this means there are other more evolved beings than us, and some of them might be the Watchers, but this video is already too long. If it receives enough views and at least 2000 likes, I will provide further elaboration on my opinion about this reality. Please consider supporting me on Patreon, as is the only way for this channel to survive. Making these videos consumes a lot of my time, and recently the number of my Patreons has decreased. Also, if you are interested in this topic, please consider subscribing to my channel with notifications on. Thanks for